Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Adapting to Thrive, the Startups edition, which in which we have Ellie from Caleno here today with us. Thanks for joining us, Ellie.
That's all right. Good to
Uh,
be here.
so, for those of you who don't know, Ellie runs a fantastic brand. I've got one on my shelf here called Caleno. You'll be able to see it in the background. First shots too, which is probably surrounded
Yeah.
by bottles constantly. And yeah, we've been really lucky to see Ellie from the start of her journey as just a tasting pot in the kitchen up to being in, I think it's over 600 Sainsbury's stores, among many others right now. So yeah, that's my brief intro, but I don't want to do you an injustice, Ellie. Please tell us a little bit more about you and the company.
Yeah. So I'm Ellie. I founded Caleno just over a year ago. We launched in January 2019 for Dry January. And then it's been a couple of years in the making. And obviously, as the health and wellness trend has grown, drinks have become a big part of that too. You know, people want to drink a little bit more healthily in the evenings. Say if they're trying to kind of work out, eat better meals midweek, then naturally, if you go to normally reach for a bottle of gin or a bottle of or glass of wine, actually Caleno is a healthier but fun option for you because you still have all of those complex flavors and taste profiles. So we've got quite a citrusy tropical flavor, which goes really well with tonic, and you can use it to make cocktails as well, which is quite fun.
Yeah, so I think it's important for me to say that I'm not just saying this because it's you and you're a valued member, but the drink is incredibly like gin, and in my opinion, has a better flavor profile than most gins that I would drink anyway, which is
Thank you.
one, fantastic for a weeknight, just generally, but two, we're in lockdown right now, and it's very easy to just crack a bottle of wine open on
Yeah.
an evening, thanks to people like Ben at Novel Wines, who we did check out. But last night, you know, it's a Thursday last night, and the sun was nice on the balcony, and it's so easy just to crack open a gin and tonic, and so Caleno is there to be able to save me
Yeah.
from a cloudy head the next morning, and it's a beautiful flavour. But that brings me to the adapting to thrive piece, right? So we're
Yeah.
in lockdown. I'm doing a lot of shopping in stores in line with guidelines, but often adding new drinks to that trolley every time. How is it affecting you? So coronavirus hits. You're a company that sells some retail, and you sell, I'm assuming, at trade and online too. How does it affect you? What's your first thought? And then we'll get into how you've adapted as a company going forwards. But how do you react?
Yeah, I mean, when it first hit, when was it? What, 4 or 5 weeks ago now? And it all started to get quite serious. I think you go into survival mode, so you look at, right, what's happening? How is this going to affect my company? And what we did, I mean, we were quite affected by the essential closure of the on-trade, so pubs, bars, restaurants, some people call it on-premise, out of home. But yeah, that was a channel that we were really starting to get some really good traction in. We'd just launched into places like Fuller's. We're doing some stuff with Weatherspoons, Revolution to Cuba just put us on the menu. So we were really starting to make some good headway, and then suddenly that all kind of froze, came to a halt. They all had to shut down because the government, of course, was recommending that no one went out, and then they were like, now you can't go out. So we're like, oh shit, what do we do? We fortunately we did have other channels that on trade was gonna be our kind of key area of growth, should we say? And prior to that, we've been in retail, and we've been continuing to grow in retail. Same with e-commerce. We've got our own website shop, but we probably hadn't been paying it as much attention really, as we focused in other areas. And then you've got Amazon, which is a platform that people use day in, day out. So that had kind of been ticking along. So the first thing we did was kind of look at different scenarios. Okay, well, with no sales in this on-trade channel, with maybe, we don't know how, at that point we didn't know how coronavirus was going to affect supply chain. So let's look at worst case scenario for retail, and actually we can't get our stuff in stores, or they can't restock shelves. Maybe Amazon can't we can't get stock into Amazon. So like it's going from like a really worst case scenario to then what's the kind of optimistic best case scenario. And then as time went on, we just were kind of constantly adjusting that, and looking at spend, and trying to immediately cutting a lot of spend. So we had quite a lot of events planned for summer, and some were coming up. We would have had some this month and last month. So yeah, cutting those and then revamping budget. So there was a lot of work done in that first week to kind of shore up the business, look at like real survival mode.
Really good insights. I think the piece around scenario mapping is something that I'd never really done as a business owner before, aside from just being the founder and going, what's the world going to look like and how are we going to make it happen. But it's been fascinating to see that people are kind of coming up with 4 or 5 different scenarios that could happen, and then what are their plan of action, plans of action to be able to react to those. And we've got our own here, so it's good to know that we're not just making things up as we go along. Other people are doing it, and other people that are running great businesses are doing it like you. So so online, are you so what's the reaction to that? Where are you going now? Are you doubling down on online in lieu of events? Like what's happening with the business?
Yeah, absolutely. Our strategy has changed quite a bit. So, we don't see ourselves being able to sell to the on-trade for the foreseeable future. We kind of have to make that assumption until we know more. And it's all about, what information we've got. But we've had to be focused on the here and now, like what sales can we drum up, and what can we get in now, and how does that then need to affect our business model in the longer term. So we've been way more focused on Amazon, and looking at how we can optimize our page, get more people landing on our product listing page, trying out, testing out some stuff. We've never really done much with Google AdWords, so looking at can we drive traffic through that medium to platforms and to our own website. We're paying a lot more attention to our own website because we've seen organically sales go up already. I think we've seen like basically double sales through our website. So that's great, and some of that's organic. So actually, it's like, wow, if we start putting some paid ads towards that, what does that do? So it's been a lot of trial and test and learn, just on a small scale. And then I think as we start to see stuff working, we'll probably look to scale that up.
Sure. I was wondering whether those that increase might be people that are unable to get it in stores now, and they're already loyal customers. Yeah. They're coming to buy those things online from you, or are they potentially new customers that are trying to explore things, explore new things at home in a life that's now a little bit more boring than it was before, and trying to spice things up? Or is it a bit of both? I'm curious.
I think it's a bit of both, because we actually had a new social media digital manager join us through all of this. So she's been like our kind of virtual team member. So at a time where we were already looking to ramp up our social media and our kind of digital platforms, it's now more important than ever. So she's kind of hit the ground running. So I think it's a mix of new people discovering Caleno, coming through to our site. And then I think it's a mixture of existing customers who are going on other websites and getting like 7 to 10 days. And we're still delivering like next day, kind of in 48 hours. So
that's pretty rapid. I'm curious how that's happening. Have you got just a really great logistics supply chain?
Yeah, we've got a really good logistics warehousing system that I think they've been affected a little bit, but they're generally getting stuff out quite quickly for us. So yeah, we're pretty thankful for that.
I guess that comes from your experience and background in working in alcoholic distribution and looking at companies, brands like the ones that you currently run.
Yeah, it's so important. I think shoring up your supply chain, like looking at forecasting, because one of the things we did was look at, well, how much product have we got in stock? And then you go back to those best and worst case scenarios, and like, well, in a best case scenario, you don't want to run out of stock, because then you're limiting how much growth you can have. So actually, I've heard stories about some places like everyone's gone on to buy bread makers. Now everyone's making their own bread. So flour mills have like completely run out of flour. And I heard, in fact, my boyfriend actually jumped on, because we've got a bread maker, and he jumped on to buy some flour. It took 3 weeks to arrive, because they went from a couple of sales a week to 10,000 orders overnight, which is just mad.
Madness. Who knew? I said this the other day to somebody, but like, who knew that at the end of the world we'd all be baking bread? It's a
I
weird
know,
scenario.
I know.
All of the dystopian films and books and games that I've kind of looked at and watched or played over the years has been things like bottle caps or firewood that was really important. But apparently, banana bread is the key to trade at the end of the world.
Yeah. And
I,
I don't think anyone could predict these trends. So there are, like, obviously where there's been, things have gone wrong, it has created opportunities for some sectors. And I think people are paying way more attention to, like, breakfast and lunch times, because now it's a big occasion for you because you're stuck at home, and dinner. So I think a lot more people are kind of going for the subscription delivery box. We're certainly looking at that as an angle. Now that we can't put on events, it's like, well, how can we get people still sampling our product and trialing Caleno?
so therefore, what's your personal reaction to this, I guess, from an outlook point of view? Are you optimistic about this and looking at this as an excuse for innovation because it's forcing it? You think you're going to come out the other side stronger? I mean, obviously, the default of an entrepreneur or a founder is always going to be that, delusional or not. But curious as to your personal foresight before I get into my final question.
Yeah, I think my personal view is, yeah, absolutely. I think we can come out of this stronger. I think with a focus on areas where we really feel like we can push the brand in different directions. So yeah, absolutely. Like, we're trying loads of new stuff on a small scale, and if some of that stuff works, and we can upscale it, and we don't know what this new world's going to look like, but we have to make educated guesses and we have to try things. I'm a big believer that if you're able to spend some money at a time or get more creative with raising your profile, then do it, because so many more people are online right now. So many more people are consuming. There's some really scary stats about how much social media people are consuming right now, but it is an opportunity for you to get your brand name out there. There's a lot of product switching going on, and I think some of that will stick. So that's an advantage and a disadvantage depending on how you look at it. But yeah, absolutely, this is the time where people are, like, absolutely focused on digital mediums, because out of home media is a little bit redundant at the moment, so you have to just really focus on the channels that people are consuming to raise your brand profile.
So this, we didn't even practice this. I didn't tell you I was going to ask this question, but that's the perfect segue into my last question, which is that you're really good at PR, right? In the last couple of weeks, you've been featured on the BBC News, talking about what the industry looks like right now. That's really important for startups, and you've just explained why, like getting your face and your brand out there. How do you do it? Any top tips for people that are sat there going, God, people really need to know about who we are right now, and they're not sure how to do it. How do you get on things like the BBC?
I think just look for opportunities, be really proactive. On Twitter, you can search hashtag journey requests, hashtag PR requests, follow the right people, reach out to them. If think about your pitch, think about how you're positioning it, why is it interesting, and just be proactive about looking for opportunities rather than waiting for those opportunities to come to you, because everyone's sat at home, and they might have, people aren't as busy at the moment, not going from meeting to meeting, therefore they've got more time on their hands, so they've got more time to look at what you're sending them. So I think just being really proactive and being really focused on the sort of coverage you want to get is key.
Perfect. Well, on that note, I think that's really great advice, and really good insight into what you're doing right now from a company point of view. A huge thank you for joining us just briefly. I know it's probably really crazy for you right now. I'm going to go on to making a non-alcoholic gin and tonic for the afternoon. It is Friday after all.
Yeah, I'm going to have one at lunchtime.
You can. I was going to say, it must be really difficult for you to say sober, but it's really not. It's kind of part of the brand. So yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Where can they find you, and where can they find Caleno if they want to try the incredible product?
So you can find us on our website, which is just calenodrinks.com. We've got a variety of sizes and deals and offers. So depending on whether you're an avid customer of ours already or you're new, you can try smaller samples if you like, or if you prefer, Amazon or Sainsbury's.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining us, Ellie.
All
And we'll
right,
be back
Ash.
for another episode of Adapt to Thrive, the Startups Edition, very soon. See you
Sure.
then.
Thanks for having me. See you later.